comprising regional and national civil society and private sector organizations. From the private sector, we have Mr. Ram Bajekal,
leaders, distinguished representatives, logically healthy and fished at sustainable levels.
The honorable leaders of our Blue Pacific continent, heads of crop, regional and international organizations, distinguished delegates, and civil society and private sector representatives here today. Ms. Ambulaminaka, and a very good morning to you all. Your Excellencies, as Forum Chair, I warmly welcome you to this combined dialogue of our Pacific private sector and civil society. You might be aware that this event is usually two distinct and separate dialogues. This joint one is timely for two reasons. Firstly, because forum leaders will launch the 2050 strategy of the Blue Pacific continent tomorrow. This dialogue features both the private sector and civil society, two key stakeholders who have been central to the development of the strategy over the past 2 years. Secondly, key to the success of the 2050 strategy is inclusivity and an important role and contribution of our people, including our civil society and business community, both of whom are major contributors to society. And so it is important that we hear from this group as part of our dialogue series this week. The 2050 strategy calls for a collective and inclusive approach with all key stakeholders in our region. As key partners from across the region, the private sector and civil society play crucial roles in the development and delivery of regional policy objectives. The private sector is, of course, the critical engine of economic growth in each of our countries and across our region. And it is the private sector who will help us to achieve the prosperity ambitions embedded in the 2050 strategy. At the same time, civil society groups play many valued roles in our communities, from holding governments to account to providing valuable health and social services at the community level. And at the regional level, they triangulate and strengthen regional policy advice, all valued activities. As leaders, we are never short of times where the private sector and civil society are at our doorstep and advocating for their constituents. Accordingly, if there is one thing our private sector and civil society panelists will guarantee us today, it is an open, candid, and frank expression of views on issues requiring consideration in the 2050 strategy and their role in that process. As Forum Chair, there are two things I expect to emerge from this dialogue. First, a healthy conversation about where and how the interests of business and people interact and intersect, and how we might use the concept of people-first public-private partnership to ensure that when we implement the 2050 strategy, allowing for a balanced approach to development. Part of this conversation will require that these partnerships expand in scale, in speed, and spread with more people having access to better services at affordable prices. Another part of this discussion I expect will focus on technology and connectivity. Comprehensive connectivity, including in relation to transportation and ICTS, can be a game changer, and it can address our most binding constraints and eliminate the tyranny of distance. Therefore, I look forward to hearing on these important matters this morning. The second thing that I expect from this discussion is a robust discussion about the role and the placement of private sector and civil society in the regional architecture. As we endeavor to implement the 2050 strategy, it is important that we consider current capacities of our business sector and civil society groups, and from there determine how best they may contribute to regional policy development moving forward. As part of this, it will be important for us to discuss the vulnerabilities and the needs of these groups so as to ensure they are equipped to contribute to the 2050 strategy, as well as consultative mechanisms such as this. Your Excellencies, let me conclude by reinforcing that the region is committed to ensuring full inclusivity and social inclusion to ensure that no one is left behind. This is what the 2050 strategy aims to deliver on, and the Forum is looking forward to doing this with our esteemed private sector and civil society partners. I wish you a fruitful discussion ahead. And thank you.
Thank you very much for your